thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm Sister Cecilia Joy Kugel, a Franciscan Sister Christian Charity, and it's been a long time since we've done one of these videos, so thank you so much for joining us. I'm here with Sarah Hart, who is a composer and recording artist for OCP, which for those of you who don't know, that's Oregon Catholic Press. If you've seen any of our missalettes, you might have found some songs that are written by her or even sung by her. So she just recently released her album Sacrament, which is her 10th collection. So thank you so much, Sarah, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see you, sister. How are you?
Really good. Very good.
Good.
So nice to meet you finally.
And you as well. It's always good to put a face with a name, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And I was saying, well, before we went on the air, I was saying how You Alone, for those of you who know the song, like You Alone Are Holy. She can probably sing it better than I can, but it's one of my favorite hymns to find out that she wrote it. So that's really beautiful. But one of the songs that she recently wrote that we're going to talk about today is called Gather at the Water. And what I love about this song is I was listening to it and I'm like, this would be the perfect baptism song. And then I read, oh, it is a baptism song.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So what was the process of writing Gather at the Water?
Well, it's kind of a roundabout process. So because when I think in terms of like making a new record or a collection, I think in terms of a theme usually. So I had a daughter, my oldest daughter was getting confirmed. And I was kind of looking through the confirmation music and just like, oh, I don't like any of these, so I decided I'm just going to write one. So I wrote a confirmation song for my daughter for her confirmation. And when I did that, I thought, wouldn't it be great to have like a whole recording of songs for each of the sacraments that are just a little bit more contemporary, maybe a little bit easier for the body to sing along with, because in sacraments, we don't want to just like exclude the church. We want to invite the church to sing. So this was one that I just wrote with the thought that we would do a whole collection about sacramental songs. And so Gather at the Water, it's really interesting. Just to kind of give you some backstory about myself, I grew up in Southeastern Ohio. And I love to tell people that I grew up as kind of a hippie Catholic. My mom belonged to this really cool group called Koinonia, and we had these wonderful priests, and we would go out and we had some land in the Hocking Hills of Ohio, and we would gather for Mass outside on weekends, and the adults would tell stories, and we would play games and laugh and sing into the night. It was really just a beautiful, very free, very, very free, faithful childhood. But I thought about that when I wrote this particular song, because the way that the song was written kind of harkens back to my Appalachian music roots. And at this place where we used to go to have Mass in the woods, there was a creek right beside us. So when we would have Mass, there was always the sound of rushing water just constantly throughout our services. And so I just kind of put myself in that position of being that kid in her bare feet, sitting on the grass, probably with a crawdad in a cup in my lap, just listening to the water as we had Mass. And it really just made me think about how we gathered there by that water, and we gathered in that place together by the water. And in the Eucharist and in that Mass, we receive new life. And if you want to get into a really deep theological argument with me, I think that basically we receive new life every time we go to Mass, right? So like, we are renewed every single time. So that's really how the song kind of came to be birthed. And so it was important to me when I recorded it to make sure we had like the 3 parts, and that it sounded like kind of a folk song, but had this very simple to sing, chorus that people could just absolutely not even have to look at a page. But while a child is being baptized, or an adult, or anyone is being baptized, the congregation could sing those words. We will gather at the water and receive new life. Because really in that sacrament, we're all being renewed, right? Not just the person receiving baptism, but we are all being renewed again. So
that's beautiful. And I agree. Ohio is a very beautiful place. We have some sisters there actually in Zanesville and
oh, that's really close to where I grew up.
Yeah. So it is a very beautiful area, and a lot of beautiful people too. Really great.
Oh, yes. Oh man. I mean, yeah, I loved growing up as a Catholic in that part of the country, and in the era when, folk music was really not just in the church, but also in secular music. And I mean, I remember the first time I was on an altar and saw women standing up there with guitars, and I was like, wow. So yeah, that's Ohio. That's Ohio for sure.
So you mentioned the main refrain is like, we'll gather at the water and receive new life. Are there any other messages in the song that listeners could really like hold on to?
Yeah.
I noticed you have a lot of scripture references. You reference a lot of
Yeah, so it was actually really important to go not just to scripture, but also to our catechism and to kind of look at the rites and say, what are the rites? And when I think, I don't know, when you're a Catholic, you don't really think about, let me study the rites, let me study how the sacraments go, like you don't. So for me, when I opened up the rites, I was like, wow, there are some really beautiful readings that accompany that you can choose when you're getting baptized. So there's a whole, I think my favorite part is when it's talking about, just as Christ stood in the Jordan, he is standing with us here today. Like that was such a beautiful image to me to think about the fact that the Lord was baptized. And in this baptism, he's standing with us just like he stood in the Jordan 2000 years ago. That was such a powerful image to me. And of course, there's that image of from the first moment of creation. And it talks about this in the catechism, from the first moment of creation that God breathed upon the waters. So is he still breathing upon these same waters that we use in the waters of baptism. And that was a really cool image. I'm all about the poetry, sister. So
that's wonderful.
And there's a lot of beautiful poetry in these rites, really, drawing from scripture and drawing from the experiences of both Old and New Testament. So I think all of those are kind of encompassed in the lyrics there, in the verses.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have any like concerts coming up or any events that you'd like people to attend? Or
oh my goodness, I'm always doing stuff. So I was just telling you before, I've been up once to do the Heart of the Nation masses that come right from there in Wisconsin, and I'll be up there again doing a few more. But I'm traveling pretty extensively on the road now, even though the Delta variant is giving me a little bit of a scare, but I think we'll be okay to get out there. So I sort of travel all over the place. People can check out the calendar, sarahhart.com. And I have a calendar about where I will be. Just to warn anybody who might come to a concert, I am a big believer in audience invitation and participation. So if you don't want to sing, don't come. If you don't want to be called out, hey, you, come sing. So, because I am a big believer that, church is not a place for us to just sit and twiddle our thumbs, but truly fully active, conscious participation means lifting our voices, even if we think we sound like an old toad. We're still supposed to lift our voices. And so, yeah, so you can look there, and I'm kind of all over the map. Truly, I travel all over the United States and Canada, once in a while internationally. So yeah, come see me, please. I love that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for being with us today.
Thank you. It has been such a joy. And I was just going to tell you really quickly, I love your name because you exude joy. And so to see that your name popped up on the Zoom as Cecilia Joy is so true. So true.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a good reminder.
It is.
And thank you so much, everyone, for watching today. We always love being with you. So thank you so much. May God bless you all.
Bye.